السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, today it is Friday the 23rd of Dhul-Qa'adah 1445. This matches the 31st of May 2024. This is our session number 67, going through this book Al-Jadeed في شرح كتاب التوحيد, the new explanation explaining the book of at-Tawheed. And last time we were reading from the original work, the chapter on ما جاء أن سبب كفر بني آدم, what has come regarding that the reason behind the disbelief of the children of Adam, وتركهم دينهم, and them abandoning their religion, هو الغلو في الصالحين, is actually exaggeration in the righteous people. And he mentioned the ayah commanding the people of the book not to exaggerate, not to go into extremes. And he mentioned the ayah from Surah Nuh, that the people of Nuh said, do not leave Wad, nor Suwa', nor Yaghuth, nor Ya'uq, and Nasra. And that Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, he said that these are actually the names of righteous people. These are the names of righteous people. After they passed away, they said, let's construct statues for them where they used to sit. Originally, they wanted just to remember righteous people and their righteousness, so that they will be motivated, right, to be righteous. But then, after the time has passed and knowledge is forgotten, knowledge is gone, they started worshiping these idols. And he mentioned the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which says what means, do not overpraise me, do not excessively praise me, like the Christians excessively praised the son of Maryam. إنما أنا عبد, I am only a slave servant of Allah. So say Abdullah wa Rasuluhu, say the slave servant of Allah and his messenger. And he mentioned the hadith, beware of extremism, beware of going overboard, ghulu, for that which have destroyed those who were before you, that which has destroyed the people before you is actually al-ghulu, going into extremes. And in the mentioned the hadith in Sahih Muslim, that those who go into the extremes, they are destroyed. He said it 3 times, alayhi salatu wassalam, هلك المتنطعون. So he said, فيه مسائل, there are different issues. We did 1, 2, and 3. Number 4, قبول البدع مع كون الشرائع والفطر تردها. How innovations are accepted, although the legislations, shara'i', and fitr, the innate natures of people, they reject those innovations. But then people tend to accept them. People tend to accept them. Like they accepted the exaggeration, and then that exaggeration led them to actually leave their religion completely. Al-Khamisah, number 5, أن سبب ذلك كله مزج الحق بالباطل. That the reason of that, all of it, is, the main reason is مزج, to mix الحق بالباطل, to mix the truth with the falsehood, to mix the truth with the falsehood. He said, فالأول, محبة الصالحين. So the first one is the love for the righteous. The first one is the love for the righteous. Loving the righteous is what? True, is good. والثاني, and the second, is فعل أناس من أهل العلم والدين شيئا أرادوا به خيرا. A people from the people of knowledge and religion, they have done something, they wanted with it something good. أرادوا به خيرا. فظن من بعدهم أنهم أرادوا غيره به. So those who came after them, they thought that they intended with it other than that. So the love of righteous people is good and recommended. The second thing that happened is some people of knowledge and religion, they did something, they wanted well with it, they wanted good. As I said, let's set up these statues so we remember them, we remember the goodness they were upon, so that we are motivated to do good because we remember them. But then those who came after them, they thought what? They thought that it was meant to worship these idols. Right? So this is how the truth was mixed up with the falsehood. السادسة, sixth issue, تفسير الآية التي في سورة نوح. The explanation of the ayah that is in Surah Nuh. لا تذرن ودا, do not leave Wad, Suwa', Yaghouth, Ya'uq, Nasra. That ayah, the explanation of it is what? That those are names of righteous people. After they died, they set up statues for them, and then later on they became idols for worship. They became objects of worship. طيب. So once again, mixing the truth with the falsehood, that's what led to that. And Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah, he mentions those who do the milad or the mawlid. What do they intend by it? In the first place, they say, we want to remember Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We want to read some of his seerah. Right? We want to, remind the people of this, especially, people are, got involved in the dunya, and so they started like this. They put a line of poetry to praise Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they ended up with what we know, right? The many things that they say about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which are not true. Right? They say things that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself is not pleased with, and he doesn't want his ummah to say that. Right? السابعة, جبلة الآدمي في كون الحق ينقص في قلبه والباطل يزيد. The jibilla, the way Allah created the human. Jibilla, he says in the footnote, هي خلقته وطبيعته, his creation and his nature. The nature, the human being is created what? Weak. خلق الإنسان ضعيفا. So his nature, the nature of the human, is that the truth diminishes in his heart, and the falsehood increases. Right? That's why you need to be always on the alert. You need to be cautious because you're winding down, you're decreasing. So you need to be on the full alert and not to be in this condition, right? الثامنة, like what happened to those people who ended up worshipping Wad, سواع, يغوث, يعوق, نسرة. الثامنة, فيه شاهد لما نقل عن السلف أن البدعة سبب الكفر. In this, there is supporting evidence, right? There's something to witness and to testify to the fact that what was reported from the pious predecessors is that al-bid'ah, heresy, innovation in the religion, is a cause leading to disbelief, right? And the Sheikh, in the footnote, he referred us to Fatawa Shaykh al-Islam, Majmu' al-Fatawa, volume 5, 552, right? So the bid'ah, innovation, leads to disbelief. We have a number of like statements, right? And they say al-bid'atu baridul kufr. Barid is the post, the mail, right? It's like, it leads you to that. Wal-'iyadhu billah. The same, like what bid'ah here led to disbelief? The bid'ah of building those structures, the idols. Why? Out of love, not to worship them, but then it led to disbelief in the end, worshipping these idols besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 9, معرفة الشيطان بما تؤول إليه البدعة ولو حسن قصد الفاعل. The shaitan, he knows what bid'ah will lead to, even if the intention of the doer was a good intention. So this is the thing, many times you tell the people, don't do that. It's not legislated. You shouldn't do it. You say, but we had good intention, right? Good intention. And the shaitan knows what is involved in innovations and heresies, right? Even if you have good intention, this ends up leading to something else. Wal-'iyadhu billah. That's what happens. Number 10, معرفة القاعدة الكلية, knowing the general ruling, general principle. وهي, and that is النهي عن الغلو ومعرفة ما يؤول إليه. The forbiddance of exaggeration and knowing what it leads to, what it end up happening due to al-ghulu. You go to extreme, you go overboard, then always there is a bad ending in the end. Number 11, مضرة العكوف على القبر لأجل عمل صالح. The harm of staying around, camping, having an encampment around the grave لأجل عمل صالح, for the sake of doing a righteous deed. You don't need to be around the grave to do a good deed. But they go around the grave, next to the grave, and that's where they do their things. Do you have to take, like they do things. They even take the animals there to slaughter them and give to the poor. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, some of them, they offer the slaughter, they offer the sacrifice for the person in the grave. That takes one outside of Islam. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. But suppose they are doing for the sake of Allah, but they intend to go next to the grave to do that slaughter, thinking that there is something special, better to do that there. The dua. We don't have a report telling us that from the places where dua is answerable is if you go to the grave of a righteous person. People go with that intention in mind. Yani, you do dua on As-Safa, dua on Al-Marwa, right? Dua in the day of Arafah. Those are locations yani, where the dua is answerable, right? But then we don't have go to the grave of someone and the dua is more answerable there when you are around the grave. There is no such a thing in Islam. There is no such a thing. Right? So that is the thing. There is harm. There is harm in this doing good deeds around the grave of a righteous person. And I told you that maybe you watch for it, you know, the day of Arafah, how those people in Egypt, they will go like in a large crowd, maybe 1 million, right? They are around that person like the people on the day of Arafah. And yes, they give donation, they give food, they do this, but it's a big celebration, right? A big celebration in that place. So that is harmful. That is harmful. Being intending to go to the grave site, the shrine, as they call them, shrines, right, of a dead person to do a righteous deed there is not, you know, right. There is a harm in that. معرفة النهي عن التماثيل والحكمة في إزالتها. Knowing the forbiddance of statues, and it doesn't have to have a specific shape, even like a image of a human or something. It doesn't have to, but it's a statue of something, right? Is a structure that is made, right, as a timthal. والحكمة, and the wisdom in removing them, the wisdom in removing those idols and those, you know, structures. الثالثة عشرة معرفة عظم شأن هذه القصة وشدة الحاجة إليها مع الغفلة عنها. Knowing the great status of this story and the extreme need to it, alongside with people being heedless regarding it. Right? This is specifically the story of the story of those who exaggerated in those righteous people, right? And they build up those structures up until they ended up, later generations ended up worshipping them. 14 وهي أعجب العجب. أعجب العجب. The most amazing of the things that make you amazed. Right? What makes you wonder the most? أعجب العجب. Right? What makes you wonder the most? And that is قراءتهم إياها في كتب التفسير والحديث. That they are reading that story of the people of Nuh. You know, Nuh is the first messenger, right? Between Adam and Nuh, alayhima as-salam, there were how many centuries? 10 centuries. 10 centuries. All of them were upon at-Tawheed. All of them were upon at-Tawheed. 10 centuries, all of them were upon at-Tawheed. Then shirk happened, and Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam came, and he was the first messenger to humanity, calling to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. So they read this story of the people of Nuh in the books of tafsir and hadith. وَمَعْرِفَتُهُمْ بِمَعْنَى الْكَلَامِ, and them knowing the meaning of the words. وَكَوْنُ اللَّهِ حَالَ بَيْنَهُمْ وَبَيْنَ قُلُوبِهِمْ, and the fact that Allah put a barrier between them and their hearts. حتى اعتقدوا أن فعل قوم نوح هو أفضل العبادات, to a point that they believed that the actions of the people of Nuh is actually the best of the acts of worship. واعتقدوا أن ما نهى الله عنه ورسوله, and they believe that what Allah has forbidden and His Messenger, what they forbid, فهو الكفر المبيح للدم والمال, that it is this is the disbelief that makes the blood and the wealth allowable. Right? So the wording here, the structure of the sentence is not that great. Maybe there is something in the manuscripts or something like that. But then the one who believes that shirk and kufr is from the greatest acts of worship, then this is disbelief, kufr, that allows the blood and the wealth of the person. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. طيب. So that could be the meaning here could be understood in a different way. But anyhow, the point here is something really strange, makes you wonder that many of those people, some of them, they're not ignorant people. They're reading the books, and they see the story of the people of Nuh and how it ended up, right? But yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanallah, the guidance is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He put a barrier between them and their hearts, to a point that they would think that what the people of Nuh did is actually of the best acts of worship, right? Subhanallah. So this is how they ended up, and this is a reality. There is one person, he has knowledge. He's not like a no ignorant man, but he wrote a whole book, استحباب بناء القباب والمساجد على القبور, the recommendation of building domes and mosques over the graves, right? And he went on, right? A whole book about something that we have so many hadith on this. And he's a man of hadith on top of that. That person, that scholar, that person who has knowledge, I shouldn't say any, right? He has knowledge. His specialty is hadith, and he's writing something like this, that it's not forbidden, it's not only allowed, it's actually recommended to build domes and mosques over the graves, right? So this is how things are, and you find many people defending this and saying what's wrong with it, all over the world, every country, as I said, they have their Sidi Fulan and their saints, and then graves and shrines and holy places that they they glorify.
Can you go back to number 3, footnote number 3?
Number?
Number 3, footnote number 3. Can you explain what you had?
Number 3, he said في هذا الكلام سياقا شيء من الخلل. يعني I mentioned that already, that the wording, the structure of the wording in the sentence, there is something يعني is not يعني something is dropped, something is like the understanding the sentence or the sentence structure has some issue with it. That's what the Sheikh is saying here. And Sheikh Al-Uthaymin, he offered two meanings. Same, he said the same thing, that the wording is not, helping, but then he offered another, maybe could be another meaning. But anyhow, yani the gist of this point here is that you have people who know and can read this in the books of hadith and tafsir, and what Ibn Abbas said about those people of Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, and how they ended up worshipping those people. And those people, actually, they were righteous people, but still they don't get the point, and they argue about it. And you try it. If you speak about this, what happens, let's say, at the grave of Al-Badawi or Zainab or whatever, right away they say, what's wrong with you? Are you Wahhabi, or you are what? Are you against the righteous people? Are you like this? But some of those people, okay, may be ignorant, but others, they're not ignorant. They can see. They see those reports. They read the books of tafsir. Yet they, choose otherwise. الخامسة عشرة التصريح بأنهم لم يريدوا إلا الشفاعة. Being explicit. تصريح is when you are explicit, open about something. Here, that they did not want except الشفاعة, intercession. So when you tell them, why are you worshipping these graves, these people, they say, we actually want them to intercede for us with Allah. Right? Like the mushrikun used to say, شفعاؤنا عند الله. We are doing this so that they will intermediate between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 16, السادسة عشرة ظنهم أن العلماء الذين صوروا الصور أرادوا ذلك. Them thinking that the scholars who made those images, they wanted that. They wanted to worship them. Right? The later generations of the people of Nuh, alayhi salatu wasalam, they thought that those who built those statues, they were worshipping them, and they wanted the people to worship them. Right? Worship them in the sense that they are what? Intercessors for them with Allah. السابعة عشرة البيان العظيم في قوله, the great clarification in his statement عليه الصلاة والسلام, لا تطروني كما أطرت النصارى ابن مريم. Do not go overboard in praising me like the Christians praised the son of Maryam. فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه بلغ البلاغ المبين. All the salutations and the prayers of Allah upon him, alayhi salatu wassalam, he delivered the clear delivery. He conveyed the clear conveyance. 18 نصيحته إيانا بهلاك المتنطعين. Number 18, his advice for us, عليه الصلاة والسلام, that those who go into the extreme, they are to be destroyed. They are going to be destroyed. 19, number 19, التصريح أنها لم تعبد حتى نسي العلم. Also, the explicit statement, تصريح, that they were not worshipped up until knowledge was forgotten, knowledge was abandoned. ففيها بيان معرفة قدر وجوده. In this is clarification for the knowledge, knowing the value of the existence of knowledge, ومضرة فقده, and the harm of missing the knowledge and the knowledgeable people. So that narration from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, it says that when knowledge was forgotten, time is long, and knowledge was abandoned, then they thought that they should what? Worship those idols. And that the early people, they only set up these structures so that they will be worshipped by way of intercession. So this is the case. So this way, you know how important the existence of knowledge is, and how harmful it is when knowledge is disappears. Knowledge disappears. So with the existence of knowledge, you can clear out a lot of misconceptions and doubts. 20 أن سبب فقد العلم موت العلماء. That the cause behind losing knowledge is actually the death of the scholars. And we have the famous hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not take away knowledge from the chests of men. Yani, you work hard to learn, memorize the Quran, and go and study the Sunnah, the Hadith, and the Fiqh, and Tafsir, and all of that, and then just disappear, just taken away from you, just like that. Right? When you have done your very best sincerely to achieve it, and then it's just taken away from you like that. It doesn't happen. You wake up in the morning and you don't know anything. You are blank, yani. It doesn't happen like that. Knowledge is taken away by the death of the scholars. That's how it happens. So what happens when the scholars die? اتخذ الناس رؤوسا جهالا. The people will take chiefs that are ignorant, because you have to have a leader. So the scholars have passed away. The people put somebody else who's not knowledgeable. What happens? فسئلوا, they will be asked. فأفتوا بغير علم, they would give verdicts without knowledge. فضلوا وأضلوا, they go astray within themselves and they cause others to go astray. So from the story here that the people of Nuh, and what Ibn Abbas said, that when knowledge was removed, then that's what they did. How was the knowledge removed? Because the earlier people have passed away. Those who know, they died. طيب. خيرا. So that was the طيب, here's the continuation of that footnote that you asked about. The Sheikh Ali here, rahimahullah, he said, في هذا الكلام سياقا شيء من الخلل. In these words, سياقا, in terms of a context, شيء من الخلل. There is some, deficiency, some, and it's disarray, and it's not, the words do not, the sentences are not like proper. There's something missing. He continues, he says, وقد رجح أستاذنا الشيخ محمد بن صالح العثيمين تغمده الله برحمته, and our Ustad, the Sheikh Al-Uthaymin, may Allah engulf him with his mercy, rahimahullah, he رجح, he gave more weight في القول المفيد, in his book, The Beneficial Statement. This is his explanation of Kitab at-Tawheed. And I mentioned that it's printed in Arabic and in English also. They have it in English, and you can get it online. Actually, you can download it, PDF. Right? So if you want to study that in English, you will find it. He said, gave more weight to أن المراد, that what is intended is أن هؤلاء الغالين اعتقدوا أن المنهي عنه هو الكفر المبيح للدم والمال, وأما ما دونه من الغلو فلا نهي فيه والله أعلم. So he said that those people who went into extreme, غالين, those who went into extreme, they believed that what is forbidden is al-kufr al-mubih lid-dam wal-mal, is to commit disbelief that allows the blood and the wealth. وَأَمَّا مَا دُونَهُ مِنَ الْغُلُو, as for what is lesser than that of exaggeration, then there is no forbiddance in it, and Allah knows best. Right? It's understood, inshallah? You are laughing, it means you didn't get it. طيب, so we are talking, all right. So we are talking about this number 14, that those people are reading the books of tafsir and hadith. They understand the meaning of the Arabic words, the Arabic speech. But then he's saying, أعجب العجب, what is most amazing. They read the story of Nuh, his people, the Wad and Suwa, and how they worshipped them. They know the meaning of the words, yet Allah Azza wa Jal put a barrier between them and their hearts, to a point that they believed that what the people of Nuh did is actually the best of acts of worship. And on top of that, that they believed that what Allah and His Messenger, ما نهى عنه الله ورسوله عنه فهو الكفر المبيح للدم والمال, what Allah and His Messenger forbade is actually the disbelief that allows the blood and the wealth only. So the ghulu, the exaggeration, is that is prohibited is only disbelief. But if it is less than disbelief, right, ghulu, that is less than disbelief, is okay actually. Right? That's how the Sheikh understood it. And the best example to this is that line in Al-Burda, نهج in Al-Burda. دع من دعته النصارى في نبيهم واحكم بما شئت في واحتكمي. Leave what the Christians said about their prophet, and then you go on after that. You say, judge, you rule, whatever you say about him is okay after that. Yani, don't say about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do not say about him that he is God or the Son of God. Right? And then after that, you go ahead. And actually he did that himself. He was saying what? He was saying, وَمِنْ عُلُومِكَ عِلْمُ اللَّوْحِ وَالْقَلَمِ. From the knowledge that you have is the knowledge of the preserved tablet and the pen. Which يعني we have Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam explicitly he doesn't know the ghaib, and he told us that except what Allah taught him. So those people, they thought that exaggeration that is prohibited is like this, kufr. Yani you say he's God or the son of God. But if you don't say that about him, then you're okay. Like, other words, other people who talk like this also. Why the Christians are kuffar, right? In this specific issue of them, doing whatever they do with Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. It is, they say they're kuffar because they call him God or the Son of God. But we ask from the dead, right? But we don't believe they are gods. Yes, we turn to them for our needs, but we don't believe they are gods or the sons of God. But we believe they are only causes, sabab. Everything in this universe is from Allah. But if you ask them, they will intercede for you with Allah, and therefore you get what. So they are only a sabab. We don't believe they are God. Why are you saying this is kufr? This is how they're talking. And some of them are explicit about this. Even in the tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, right? إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You alone we worship, and from you alone we seek the help. They will talk about how you ask the help of someone else who is able to help you. And they say that this is a sabab, a cause, right? Otherwise, the one who really helps is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he made that a cause. You are drowning. You say, please help me. Somebody jumps and comes and pulls you out. Or he throws a ring for you, or he gives you a piece of rope or a stick. So you hold on to that, they pull you out, right? So you asked for help and they helped you. Right? إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Asking them for help is wrong? Is not wrong. But they are only a cause. They might do all kinds of help to you and you still drown. Unless Allah wants it to happen, you will not be saved. These people and the stick and the ring and all of that is a cause. Maybe the one who jumps in the water coming to help you, he is the one who drowns. I'm sure you know stories like that, right? They go down to help people. They are the ones who drown, and the ones who ask for help, they come out. Right? So these are only causes. With this, now they shift to the asking the people of the graves. And they say that those are only a cause. You can see the confusion, huh? Right? You see the confusion between asking the help from someone who is alive, who is present, and who is able to do that help. Right? And the one who is dead, he's unable. If he was able, why didn't he make himself stay alive? Why did he die? Right? Why did he die? He cannot even help himself. How? But they say it's only a cause. How is that a cause? Again, part of the ghaib. We ask them, and somehow Allah gave them some sort of a power that you cannot see. It's behind the scenes. It's from the matters of the ghaib. You ask them, they ask Allah, and then that happens to you. And if you do that, this is quicker and faster and more direct than you saying إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. يعني the ayah that they're doing tafsir for it is just it became the opposite for what it means. Right? And you're supposed to ask Allah first. يعني even if you want to ask يعني which is not allowed and it's kufr, but then at least say, well, last. Ask Allah first and ask them after. They don't do that. They are first. It's quicker and faster. Like I told you about that person who was in the study circle, and the sheikh was saying, no asking, no this, and show off and all of that. He spoke about shirk. And that guy, he was saying, but if you're making dua and you don't say Sidi Fulan, forget it. The dua is not going to be answered. And the sheikh told him that I was talking about the shirk al-asghar, the minor shirk. This is shirk al-akbar. Yani. This is the greater form of shirk that takes one outside of Islam. Right? So this is how it is. Right? Allah knows best. طيب, we have to stop inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. So let's call the adhan and pray inshallah. السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.